Ever feel like you're just one decision away from a completely different life, but you're not sure what that decision is? What if I told you that it's not luck, not timing, and not even talent that separates success from stagnation, but something far more within your control? And what if the only thing missing is the belief that you already have everything you need to begin? Sometimes the most difficult realization in life is understanding that the biggest obstacle between where you are and where you want to be is you. Not external circumstances, not bad luck, not a lack of opportunity. It's the internal choice you make every day to step up or to stay still. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity to show up at your doorstep, because the truth is, perfect moments rarely come. What truly matters is whether you're ready to rise, even when the timing feels wrong, even when doubts cloud your vision. This is something the Stoic philosophers knew all too well. Epictetus, once a slave and later one of the most respected minds of his time, taught that while we can't control the world around us, we have absolute power over how we respond to it. And today, we're going to explore one of the most transformative responses available to us, the decision to act in this very moment as if you're already the best. Think about that for a second. You don't need to wait until you're confident, qualified, or even sure of yourself, because the truth is, that feeling of readiness may never come on its own. But what if showing up like you're already the best is the very thing that makes you become the best? Inside all of us is a voice that whispers, "You're not there yet. You're not good enough." But that voice is not the truth, it's fear dressed in reason. The real power lies in overriding that voice, standing tall, and deciding to live from your potential, not your limitations. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and student of Stoicism, would journal daily about focusing only on what he could control: his thoughts, his actions, his integrity. He didn't aim for glory. He aimed for virtue. He knew that greatness wasn't something bestowed from the outside. It was built from within, brick by brick, action by action. This mindset, this decision to be your best, is not about pretending or putting on a mask. It's about aligning your behavior with the person you know you're capable of becoming. Even when the path is unclear, even when your confidence is shaky, it's about showing up anyway. Because when you do, something incredible begins to shift. Your perspective changes, your energy changes, and soon your results follow. Not because the world suddenly favors you, but because you've stepped into the version of yourself that stops waiting and starts leading. It's not about being perfect. It's not about outshining others. It's about raising your own standard and meeting it consistently. It's about choosing growth over comfort, courage over hesitation, intention over excuse. The Stoics never promised a life free of hardship. On the contrary, they believed that life is hardship, but they also believed that through facing adversity, we develop strength. Through discipline, we gain freedom. Through choosing the harder path, we carve out a more meaningful one. And this is where the transformation begins. Not in a grand event, but in the quiet, personal moment when you say, "Today, I will show up as my highest self." That's the spark. That's the shift. That's when everything starts to change, not just outside, but deep within. So as we move forward, ask yourself, what would change if I started acting like the best version of me? Today, stay with me, because on the next page, we'll uncover exactly how to maintain this mindset. Even when life throws its hardest punches, let's dive deeper into the practical tools that can help you not just act like the best, but truly become it. In the last part, we talked about the power of deciding to act as if you're already your best self. Now, let's take that idea one step further into how that single decision begins to shape everything else in your life. You see, it's not about sitting back and waiting for the stars to align. It's about standing up now, in this very moment, and choosing to act with purpose, with confidence, and with clarity. That choice right here, right now, is the spark. From it, everything flows. Once you make that internal shift, something begins to change. You start raising your standards. You begin aligning your actions with your vision. And slowly but surely, you move closer to becoming the person you've always known you could be. That's the true power of deciding to be the best. But let's be clear. When I say act as if you're the best, I'm not talking about arrogance. This isn't about puffing your chest or pretending you're better than anyone else. Not even close. It's not about ego, it's about excellence. It's about quietly committing to hold yourself to the highest standard, not for praise, not for applause, but for your own evolution. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a world-class athlete or a master of your craft. There's a quiet confidence they carry, not loud or boastful, but rooted in discipline, repetition, and relentless self-improvement. That's the energy we're after. When you adopt this mindset, you begin to operate differently. You speak differently. You move differently. Not because you're pretending, but because you're becoming. You're aligning your actions with the belief that you're capable, resilient, and worthy. Take Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history. Did he walk around as if he was above others? No, he saw himself as a humble student of life. He didn't chase perfection. He focused on virtue, on showing up every day with integrity. That's what made him a true leader. So when we talk about acting like you're the best, it's not about being flawless. It's about showing up with the belief that no matter what challenges come your way, you've got what it takes to face them. That belief over time starts to shape your habits, your confidence, your life. And here's the beauty of it. This confidence doesn't come from others. It's not about likes, titles, or validation. It comes from knowing that you're doing your best, living by your values, and growing a little more each day. It's deeply internal, just as the Stoics taught. Arrogance tries to place you above others. But real confidence, it's about elevating yourself to your highest potential, while remaining grounded and humble. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Always learning, always striving, always moving forward. Now maybe you're thinking, but I'm nowhere near being the best. How can I possibly act like I am? And that's completely normal. It's human to doubt. But here's the truth, you don't need to be the best to start thinking like the best. Because this mindset isn't reserved for champions or elites. It works even when you're just beginning. It's not delusion. It's not fake it till you make it. It's about shifting your internal compass toward growth, courage, and purpose. The Stoics were clear on this. While we can't control everything in life, we can control how we carry ourselves. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, you can still choose to show up like someone who is on their way. And when you do, when you consistently carry yourself with focus, with discipline, and with quiet strength, something powerful begins to happen. You start to believe it. And when you believe it, you start to become it. This isn't fantasy. It's not about magical thinking or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about unlocking the version of you that's already inside, waiting for permission to rise. Now that we've explored the inner mindset, let's take it a step further. How do you live it out day by day? How do you reinforce this belief through action? That's exactly where we're headed next. Previously, we talked about how adopting the mindset of acting as if you're the best can gradually transform your reality. Now let's dive deeper into why this shift in thinking isn't just motivational, it's psychological. And it's powerful. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a proven psychological shift. When you change the way you think about yourself, your actions begin to follow suit. The Stoics were ahead of their time in understanding this connection. They believed that our beliefs directly influence our behaviors. So if you start acting as if you are capable, confident, and competent, something begins to change inside you. You begin to become those things. This is the nature of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's not just theory, it's something the Stoics practice daily. Let's take something simple yet high stakes, like a job interview. Imagine you walk in full of anxiety, doubting your worth, telling yourself you're not good enough. What happens next? Most likely, your body language shrinks, your voice trembles, and your performance suffers. But now imagine the opposite. You walk into the room with the mindset that you are absolutely the best candidate for the job. You speak clearly, you highlight your skills with confidence, and you genuinely believe in the value you bring. Even if the outcome doesn't go your way, that internal shift prepares you for the future. You've just practiced courage. You've built resilience. You've strengthened your mindset, and that will carry over into every opportunity that follows. So when that little voice inside says, "I'm not the best," remember, the Stoics would tell you, that's not the point. The point is to act as if you are. Why? Because by doing so, you elevate your behavior. You begin to align your actions with the version of yourself that you aspire to become. This has nothing to do with perfection. The goal isn't to be flawless. It's about setting a higher standard for yourself and committing to improvement again and again. That's exactly what Stoic philosophy emphasizes. Growth is continuous. It never ends. To act as if you're the best doesn't mean you've reached the top and now you're done. On the contrary, it means you've committed to a lifetime of learning, refinement, and self-discipline. Seneca, one of the most revered Stoic thinkers, once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That mindset, that constant readiness to grow, is at the heart of greatness, no matter how skilled, how wise, or how successful someone becomes. The best in any field, whether athletes, entrepreneurs, or philosophers, remain students of life. They never stop learning, never stop refining. And when you choose to act as if you're the best, you step onto that same path of mastery. You're saying to yourself, "I'm going to carry myself with the discipline and intention of the best, and I'll put in the work to earn it." And here's the key. This kind of confidence is rooted in humility. The Stoics weren't interested in arrogance. In fact, they warned against it. Take Marcus Aurelius again, one of the most powerful rulers in history. Despite his authority, he never saw his position as the finish line. He saw it as a responsibility, a calling to keep striving, keep improving, and stay grounded in virtue. That's what true leadership looks like. And when you take on this mindset, you're doing the same. You're embracing the belief that growth is lifelong, that being your best is a moving target, and that's exactly what makes the journey meaningful. So what does this look like in everyday life? It means raising your own standards, not for show, but for substance. In your relationships, it's asking yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? Whether you're a partner, a parent, or a friend, how would the best version of that role behave? It's not about perfection. It's about consistent effort. And in your health, it's the same mindset. Ask yourself, how would I care for my body if I truly believed I was capable of achieving peak wellness? What choices would you make about food, movement, sleep if you already saw yourself as strong and thriving? This is the Stoic path, a journey of self-discipline, conscious choice, and daily elevation. Now that we understand how this mindset applies across different areas of life, the next question is, how do we keep it alive? How do we stay consistent, even when motivation fades? Let's talk about that next. Earlier, we explored how adopting the mindset of acting as if you're the best can elevate every area of your life, from relationships to health. Now let's look how this mindset transforms from something you practice into something you are. At first, the phrase "act as if you're the best" might sound like you're just playing a role, maybe even pretending. And honestly, in the beginning, it might feel like that. But here's the truth. What you practice consistently becomes your reality. That's not just motivational talk, it's deeply rooted in philosophy and psychology. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca once said, "We become what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Think about that for a moment. The more you practice a certain behavior, whether it's confidence, self-control, or resilience, the more it becomes a part of your identity. You're not faking it. You're training it into your character. Let's break it down. When you first start acting like the best version of yourself, it might feel awkward, even unnatural. You might catch yourself thinking, Who am I to walk into this room with confidence? But this is where the magic of human adaptability comes into play. The Stoics believe that we are shaped not just by our thoughts, but by our actions. If you consistently carry yourself with calm assurance, over time, that confidence begins to feel real. If you repeatedly make disciplined choices, guess what? You become a more disciplined person. It's not about pretending forever. It's about practicing the traits you want to own until they become second nature. Imagine it like training a muscle. At first, lifting weights is uncomfortable. Your arms shake, your body resists. But as you continue, your strength builds, your body adapts, and eventually, what once felt heavy becomes manageable, even natural. That's exactly how this works. Each time you act with purpose, each time you speak with confidence or make a healthy choice, you're reinforcing the version of yourself you want to become. Over time, it's no longer something you have to force. It becomes who you are. Epictetus, another great Stoic teacher, often reminded his students that while we cannot control everything that happens around us, we can control how we respond. By choosing to respond with courage, clarity, and virtue again and again, we train ourselves into alignment with the kind of person we aim to be. Let's say you want to become more confident in social settings. At first, it might feel fake, like you're putting on a mask, but each time you stand tall, make eye contact, and speak with intention, you're building that skill. Eventually, it doesn't feel like acting anymore. It just is. You're no longer pretending to be confident. You are confident, and it applies across the board. Practice making healthy decisions, and over time, you become someone who naturally prioritizes wellness. Practice managing your money wisely, and you evolve into someone who's financially grounded. These aren't miracles. They're the direct result of consistent, intentional choices. That's the heart of Stoic philosophy. Change isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through action, through habit, through repetition. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. You don't become your best self in one breakthrough moment. You build it quietly, repeatedly, day by day. What starts as a practice slowly becomes your reality. And one day, you look back and realize you're no longer acting like the best. You've become the best version of yourself. So the question is, how do you make sure you stay on this path? How do you build in habits and systems to keep you aligned with your highest potential? That's exactly where we're going next. In the previous section, we explored how consistency transforms intention into identity, how daily practice turns acting like the best into being your best. Now let's dive deeper into an often misunderstood truth about this mindset. It doesn't mean ignoring your flaws. It means confronting them. Becoming the best version of yourself doesn't come from a single grand moment. It happens through repetition, by consistently showing up and acting like the person you strive to be. The Stoics taught us that our actions shape our character, and in turn, our character shapes our entire life. So the habits and decisions you make each day, they're quietly but powerfully building your reality. When we talk about acting as if you're the best, it's easy to assume it means pretending you have no flaws, no fears, no failures. But in truth, it's quite the opposite. To act like you're the best is to have the courage to look directly at your weaknesses and use them as fuel for growth. The Stoics were experts in this mindset. They believed that self-awareness and honest self-reflection were not optional, but essential for progress. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Part of that power is knowing exactly where you fall short, not so you can judge yourself, but so you can improve. The best in any field, whether it's business, art, leadership, or athletics, are not the ones who believe they're flawless. They are the ones who understand their flaws better than anyone else and refuse to be defined by them. Instead, they use those insights to push themselves further. The Stoics saw weakness not as a curse, but as a chance to train. Epictetus reminded his students that mastery is born from resistance, that the path to growth is paved with discomfort. If you can see your shortcomings clearly and approach them not with shame but with curiosity, you set yourself up for real progress. Let's think of it like this. If you ignore your weaknesses, they don't disappear. In fact, they grow in the shadows. They gain strength in your avoidance. But if you face them, acknowledge them with humility, and start taking action, they lose their grip on you. You gain strength. You gain clarity. You begin to reclaim control. To the Stoics, weakness wasn't failure. It was an opportunity, an invitation to practice virtue, to grow more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. That's what striving for excellence looks like. Not denying your struggles, but embracing them as part of the journey. This mindset requires humility. Acting like you're the best doesn't mean you think you have nothing left to learn. It means you're committed to learning always. It means you can be proud of your strengths while staying deeply aware of your blind spots and willing to improve them. Seneca, in particular, wrote often about this. He believed failure and setbacks weren't something to fear. They were actually some of life's greatest teachers. They reveal the gaps in our thinking, the limits of our discipline, and the areas where growth is most needed. The key isn't to avoid these challenges. It's to face them with honesty, with strength, and with the mindset that every flaw you confront is a step closer to mastery. True strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the courage to look at what's holding you back, and the determination to move beyond it. This is the essence of the Stoic path, to turn every challenge, every shortcoming, into fuel for a stronger, wiser self. So when you act as if you're the best, you're not claiming to be flawless. You're showing that you have the inner strength to face your flaws, learn from them, and grow. That mindset will take you farther than any false confidence ever could, because it's built on truth. And as you continue down this path of self-mastery, one question remains. How do you stay rooted in this mindset when life throws real challenges your way? Let's explore that next. Previously, we explored how true growth comes from facing your weaknesses with courage and humility. But here's something even more powerful. When you act like your best self, it doesn't just transform you, it lifts up everyone around you. This mindset, this way of being, isn't only about personal success. It's about impact. The Stoics deeply believed in the idea of sympathy, the interconnectedness of all human beings. They saw clearly that your actions ripple outward, influencing the people you meet, the spaces you enter, and the world you help shape. So when you strive for excellence, when you carry yourself with quiet strength, with purpose, and with discipline, you raise the bar for more than just yourself. Your behavior becomes a mirror, reflecting what's possible to others. Think about someone you've met who truly carries themselves with clarity, intention, and calm confidence. Just being around them makes you want to stand taller, speak more clearly, and focus on what matters. They don't have to give a speech or shout their values. Their presence is enough. That's the power of leading by example. When you act as if you're the best, you naturally become a source of inspiration, especially for those who might be feeling lost in self-doubt or stuck in fear. Without even realizing it, you're showing others a different way. You're showing them that with the right mindset and steady focus, it's possible to rise above any challenge. The Stoics didn't chase status or competition in the way we often do today. Their philosophy wasn't about beating others, it was about helping others rise with you. They believed in a collective pursuit of virtue and wisdom. So when you hold yourself to a higher standard, you're also encouraging those around you to do the same. You create an atmosphere where growth becomes contagious. This is what it means to act as if you're the best, not for pride, but for purpose. You embody traits that others admire and naturally want to emulate. Your life becomes a living example of what's possible when discipline, clarity, and consistency come together. And the beauty is, this creates a ripple effect. Your growth inspires growth. Your clarity creates clarity. Your strength helps others find their own But here's something we all face along the journey: failure. And the Stoics knew this truth better than most. They didn't shy away from it. They didn't fear it. They embraced it as part of the process. Marcus Aurelius said it best: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, failure isn't something that stops you. It's something that shapes you. It's not the enemy of success, it's a companion on the road to it. So when you act as if you're the best, you're not saying you'll never fall. You're saying that when you do fall, you'll rise smarter, stronger, and more prepared. That's resilience, and it's one of the deepest virtues in Stoic thought. Because while you can't always control the outcome, you can always control how you respond. That's the real power. So the next time failure knocks, don't shrink. Step toward it. Ask, what can I learn here? See it as feedback, not defeat. A roadmap, not a dead end. Epictetus taught his students that failure is part of the training ground for greatness, that we should expect it, accept it, and use it to shape our character. It's not a reason to give up, it's a reason to keep going, this time with more insight, more wisdom, and more experience under your belt. And now, as we wrap this up, there's one final idea to explore: how to keep this mindset alive every day. Not just when things go well, but especially when they don't. Let's finish strong. In the last section, we explored how the Stoic mindset transforms failure into fuel, how setbacks, when faced with courage, become stepping stones toward greatness. Now, let's bring it all together and talk about making this mindset part of your daily life. When you face failure with a Stoic perspective, something shifts. You no longer see failure as something to fear or run from. Instead, you recognize it as a necessary training ground, a place to practice resilience, flexibility, and determination. The best in any field, whether they're athletes, entrepreneurs, or philosophers, aren't those who never stumble. They're the ones who rise stronger every single time. As the Stoics taught, true strength isn't about avoiding the fall, it's about how you rise after it. So the next time you fail, remember this: it's not the end of your story. It's not a sign you're unworthy. It's a vital, even sacred, part of your journey to becoming your best self. But here's something important: acting like the best version of yourself isn't a one-time decision. It's not a motivational moment. It's a practice, a commitment you renew daily. The Stoics believed in showing up every single day with intention. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, urged himself to begin each morning with purpose. He wrote, "When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's not just poetic, it's practical. When you start your day with that kind of awareness, you create a foundation for greatness. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present, about showing up again and again with the intention to grow. The beauty of this mindset is that you don't have to wait until you feel ready. The Stoics warned against waiting for the perfect moment, because that moment almost never arrives. Instead, they taught, start now, with what you have, from where you are. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to be consistent, because every time you act like the best version of yourself, you're reinforcing those traits within you. Confidence, discipline, clarity, they stop being something you try on and start becoming part of who you are. This mindset isn't about arrogance. It's not about pretending. It's about aligning your behavior with your potential. And that potential, it's vast, whether you're at work, at home, in conversation, or in solitude. The question remains the same: how would the best version of me show up right now? Ask that question each day. Let it guide your actions. Let it shape your choices. The Stoics believed that we don't control everything in life, but we do control our actions. And through those actions, we shape our lives, moment by moment. So make this mindset your habit. Start each day by asking yourself, what would the best version of me do today? And then go do it with courage, with integrity, with intention. One action at a time, you'll move closer to the life you're truly capable of living. Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal. If you found value in this journey and want to keep growing stronger, wiser, and more grounded, check out one of the suggested videos on your screen. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.